Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Hearthstone Major at PAX East, presented by One Nation of Gamers. My name is TJ. I am joined by Nathan, that's Admirable, Zamora. And, we're getting close to those important playoff matches. I mean, all these matches are important, but we're getting close to the round of 4, getting close to those grand finals. Next matchup is going to be a round of 8 matchup between SuperJJ and Ultima. And Ultima yesterday took out Amaz with some interesting decks. He had this weird beast deck with his hunter, which is going to be played here. What do you think his chances are going up against Super JJ here, Admirable?
Well, Amaz was running a bit more of an aggressive lineup, which that beast hunter kind of performed a little bit well with, given his curve out. Got a lot of value with Dread Scale versus a bunch of 1-health minions. But Super JJ's lineup is a lot different than that with Rogue and Freeze Mage in it. So we'll have to see how that one performs against sort of the slower, more reactive-oriented strategies. Curious how it's going to perform. And his Druid and his Warlock, this is kind of like Super JJ's weakness looks like it's going to be the Druid in this situation, but the rest of his decks feel like that they're kind of aimed at Warlock and aimed at that Hunter just by coincidence. So we'll have to see how he can pull these performances. But from the get-go, I feel like Super JJ's lineup does have an advantage over Ultima's right now.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see. Ultima, though, was really fun to watch yesterday in his matches, so we'll see if he can pull another upset out of his bag of tricks. Super JJ has been performing incredibly well. He had a close matchup against Nassim earlier where he got a lot of help with the draws, but I do believe that he does have the matchups lining up. A decent early hand with Rogue, but he definitely doesn't want to see that sprint. And Ultima, once again, going to throw out this Hunter deck first off and keeps kill command.
Yeah, I mean, against Rogue is one of the matchups where you kind of got to giddy up on the damage. So if you have a strong early curve, I mean, you can justify keeping utility cards in the right situations when you have these strong early curves. And so Kill Command is going to be his choice for that. We'll see how he gets going here. I mean, I don't mind a coin here, but I certainly don't mind coin turn 3 Pilot Shredder either. It's going to allow JJ to just dagger up and wait with 2 copies of Fan of Knives. Looking for some good board states for that, and I think he's going to find him soon.
Yeah, double kill command. That's a lot of burn. Already in the hand of Super JJ. And he does have... way to clear here. He's going to Deadly Poison. Clear this off. He does have Fan of Knives to set up for the next turn. So, I like this. Not using too many resources. Not giving up his hand right away.
It's going to be coin Piloted Shredder. And attack these little Hunter Creeper guys.
So Fan of Knives can be incredibly devastating here. As long as it's not a 4-health minion that comes out of this Piloted Shredder, there's no way that Super JJ can be punished. And that's a Lance Carrier. I don't think that's even worth an attack.
Yeah, probably not this turn. I mean, just to wait and evaluate the next turn. That Edwin Van Cleef is looking like pretty good. Desert Camel is in this build. But it's a South Sea deckhand comes out. Avast, you mateys!
Yeah.
Wait, that's the Bloodtail Corsair. Ha-ha! That's that one. There we go.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah, got to go through the soundboard a little bit there to find the right one.
And Knives looking pretty spectacular. Clean up this board position. Gonna get the Redagger up here. And at 25, Super JJ might be a little bit comfortable with this. Ultima looks like he's freaking out about the Malorn in hand right now. It's like, can I connect with this at any point in this match?
Malorn, it's infinite value. Ultima's thinking right now, if this matchup goes to fatigue, I win 100%.
Oh! That one's so good for Super JJ. Sometimes Mounted Raptor backfires.
Sometimes. Super JJ's going to go back up, and this 6/6 Van Cleef is going to pose a pretty big threat to Ultima's board. There's that Dread Scale that we were talking about.
Yeah, it's a little unspectacular in this position.
Yeah. He can clear off the Edwin Van Cleef with a Kill Command plus a Dread Scale.
This is the point in the game where if Ultima does not get some damage rolling, he is going to quickly find himself falling out of the game. I mean, the fact that Super JJ is at 28 right now, it's spelling some bad things for him already. So Kill Command Dreadscale is going to handle the Van Cleef and then poke him to 27. We'll see how the response looking pretty easy for SuperJJ here.
I mean, he can clear off the dread scale and just sprint. He's at 27 health, but gonna opt to go for the Azure Drake now.
Ooh, that's a great pickup for SuperJJ.
Wow. Sorry about that. Wow, JJ's just had some great draws, and Hunter's Mark not really gonna help. He's gonna be able to clear. He's gonna be able to clear, but
yeah,
I guess that's actually really
good.
good.
Pilot shredder on board.
Yeah, he does have a play to back it up. I was thinking,
he's actually rolling into Malorn after this too. So,
that's what I love to see. The old pilot shredder.
Oh geez, that was a huge draw for SuperJJ right now. Prep sprint into evaluate with my billions of options. He's gonna settle on Tomb Pillager, but that is a strong one right now.
Yeah.
What a great animation that card has. As the leaves explode, it creates Malorn. Yep. Trade there, probably a little bit better. Oh, wow. It just... You know what? When you pick up 5 cards, the hits keep coming. And they don't stop coming.
Yep.
Somebody once told me... God, you missed it, man. Jeez. You have missed so many cultural references this weekend.
No, I'm hitting them all.
You didn't even get Marble Madness, man. Kill Command on this spot.
That was walking on the sun, right?
I'm hiking on sunlight. It's kind of okay.
Hey!
I don't think those are the words. I messed this one up.
Close enough.
Yeah, the amount of card draw from SuperJJ is really giving him the advantage in this one. Ultima continues to reload the board with just threat after threat, but JJ just got insane damage. I mean, if it's not lethal, it's pretty darn close.
No, it's not even close, actually. Whoops.
I think it's pretty close. I mean, he does...
Yeah, he's 5 damage off, yeah.
Yeah, and this Savannah Highmane right now, that 6-3 has taunt. Okay, this Savannah Highmane does not have the rule of Amaz at the moment.
Ultima's like, eventually, if I keep playing Malorn, it's gonna stick. What can he find with the King's Elec that's gonna give him some more oomph? A Desert Camel.
Yeah, that's just gonna keep fighting against his game plan.
His deck is really interesting, though.
No option but to trade. Honestly, I think Malorn is probably even better here than his other 2 options.
Yeah. At this point, you're not even worried about fitting in hero powers because you got a long way to go. The way you win is by just keeping control of the board.
Yep. So trade Blade Flurry, set to 9, and set Lothab, dagger up, and punch for 1. SuperJJ's looking primed to take this game. Ultima needs something off the top of his deck, or game number 1's going over to SuperJJ.
I don't even know what he needs. He needs a taunt? Is that what he needs? He needs a Houndmaster? Or he just got Malorn right back.
If he draws enough Malorns.
Legends tell of the man who kept drawing Malorn and lost to SuperJJ. Wait a second. That's a Sir Finley Murgleton.
That is. Did we see the Finley yesterday?
I think we did actually. We saw it. No. We saw it in Rod's deck, I think.
Yeah,
Rod had Reno Hunter, which it makes sense in there, but this is no Reno Hunter. This just seems like, I don't even know, a control hunter, control beast hunter. It's a mid-range hunter, Desert Camel, Dreadscale, and Sir Finley Murgleton.
It's just kind of like, it feels like it's just fighting the early game and then trying to scale up the curve really heavily. Like, the Dreadscale did so much work versus opposing Haunted Creeper yesterday. The problem with it is it doesn't do that much work versus, like, Shielded Minibot.
Yeah. Well, Ultima throws out the Zoo Warlock this game, and SuperJJ throws out the Freeze Mage. So Ultima going into a pretty poor matchup here for game number 2.
Yeah, Argent Squire does make this matchup a little bit better for Zoo. They take, I'm sorry, for the Freeze Mage as well. They take a little bit less damage from some of these early drops. And Ultima, not as surprised to see that Leopard Gnome take. SuperJJ operating with pretty decent hand. Icebox certainly isn't what he wants to draw at this point, but that Acolyte of Pain is going to be so good if he plays it. You know, he's thinking about Abusive Sergeant, maybe Iron Beak Owl. But my gosh, I mean, this is just so good right now.
He's got an ice block where his heart used to be. Got that one.
Abusive Sergeant is a fantastic pickup. You can kind of see that interaction there working as well. With it being Argent Squire instead of Flame Imp, the Acolytes just have more pressure on that card. Mm-hmm. So that's a very, very strong pickup for Ultima on that one. And JJ picks up Arcane Intellect. So lots of cards for him. He's facing down 5 damage a turn. Needs to find some way to actually cast spells. His hand's looking pretty clunky from this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to see him fit in a tap here. You sort of need to have a little bit better of a hand size. And Leopard Gnome, it adds 2 damage to the board, but I think you'd rather have the extra card here. Yeah.
I'd say so as well. That's a good extra card, too.
I think
extending
it
is. Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by that. I mean, extending the damage here would have been very strong. Yeah. I'm just going to go with second Rubian Egg, though. Board is pretty immune to AoE at this point.
Yeah.
Yep. The dog agrees.
Breaker Z.
He's like, don't Blizzard!
Yeah.
Don't regret it.
My dog is, likes to go face. Really upset that he didn't play the Leopard Gnome last turn in the Abusive Sergeant. She's like, missed 4 damage! Rough.
Acolyte of Pain looking like the drop here, but I feel like JJ is trying to find a way to make more progress in this game than is available, which I don't blame him for. I mean, he needs to plan out his turn 5 and his turn 6 here as well. So those are definitely things he's thinking about also, because it's just really not that easy. And the Ice Block here is totally fine too. I mean, if he plays the Acolyte of Pain, he does risk some overdraws, and likely does not want to give that option to Ultima, it looks like. Considering Ice Lance, but that would just be...
Ultima's like, what the heck, man? Just end the turn.
Yeah, little things like that, though. I mean, Ultima has played pretty fast and furious so far.
Yeah. Too fast and too furious, perhaps.
He's been Tokyo drifting.
That doesn't even fit. I knew you were going to do it. I knew it. Too Fast, Too Furious series actually really missed an opportunity for some dank memes in their titles.
You know, there's always new roads ahead.
Boom! You just Googled it. That's not even fair. I watched you. Oh,
Got
man.
the tools, man. Using the tools at my disposal.
Yeah.
No Frost Nova makes this look really ugly. I mean, to me, this is perhaps a try to dig for Frost Nova turn.
I mean, even if you get Frost Nova, there's double Nerubian Egg on the board. So you're still going to be left with like 2 4/4s once it's all said and done. And SuperJJ has taken some pressure here early on.
Yeah, I think it's okay to see the 4/4s though. I mean, he has Blizzard in hand afterwards. and the Ice Lances still. Gosh, I don't... This may not get there. So ping, Doomsayer, and Ice Lance on the Sea Giant. That's the play. Abusive Sergeant for Ultima, but he doesn't have any extra damage here, so this Doomsayer might actually stick. And, well, Bran Bronzebeard will change that. And that's going to completely nullify the Blizzard.
Wow. And Ultima throws his hands in the air, but he does care.
Yeah. Still all smiles and all giggles over there. This is looking rough. I think this is Arcane Intellect for Frost Nova and just try to buy time. Emperor Thorson's not looking bad here either. I mean, getting discounts on these cards could potentially unlock the time he needs to throw burn in there.
But you're taking so much damage on the backswing of this. I guess you don't really have much of a choice. You don't really have much of an option.
Right.
But it is going to be tough. Everything clears the board. Ultima does have Dr. Boom as a reload. Leopard Gnome is also an interesting card in this matchup. It's one of those things that you can sort of... there's a rare situation where you can actually throw a Leopard Gnome into a Doomsayer for lethal through Ice Block.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting, actually. I mean, that may have been one of the reasons why he chose to hold on to the Leopard Gnome, I wonder.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't add that much... It does add a decent amount of power onto the board, but it also just gives you sort of an out in that rare situation where you might just lose the game if your board gets cleared. Like when you have your opponent at 1 health like that. So it also completely messes with the Freeze Mage's plan. Actually, thinks for a second if he wants to use the Soulfire, but opts not to. That could also be one of those things. Whoa, that's a 9/9.
Yeah, we saw one of those earlier in this event. That's what they look like, and it's a terrifying sight. JJ is going to need some help, and he's going to need it stat.
He doesn't have enough burn to start throwing it at the face. Sometimes against Zoo with the Torch Freeze Mage list, you can just start throwing burn at the face and hoping that you draw into enough for a lethal. Like that is a win condition. The win condition for the Torch Freeze Mage is not linear like the win condition is for the Freeze Mage of the standard Freeze Mage with like Antonidas, where you're looking for Alexstrasza and you have a little bit more consistent AoE with Flame Strike to sort of bide your time until you get there. He does pick up Fireball, but I don't know if that changes anything. He's staring at so much damage on the board. His block is getting popped next turn 100% of the time. Because even if he blizzards, he leaves 4/4s on the board.
Trying to think of just a 2-turn lethal he's got set up here. I think any way he does this is going to require drawing cards. So I like the Blood Mage Fireball to drop Ultima down to 17 here. And then if he draws Ice Block, he can set Ultima
Ice Block Fireball. Ooh, no, then he'll need to fit in a ping.
Yeah, you're right. Frost Nova would be extremely strong.
Frostbolt, though.
Okay, so now Frost Nova won't be good because Ultima's holding on to Soulfire.
Yeah.
Needs Ice Block. That's the first and foremost. JJ's going to think that Frost Nova is good, and I don't blame him for this.
Yeah. Ultima's crossing his fingers.
Maybe not. I mean, he thumbed over the Acolyte there. I mean, maybe he's thinking about Acolyte.
I mean, JJ's actually really close to just lethal damage. He's got Frostbolt, Forgotten Torch, which is 9, and Frostbolt, Ice Lance, which is another 7. That's 16 damage.
Yeah, he's 2 mana off.
He's 2 mana off or 1 damage off lethal. He's also... Oh, man, this is just tough. I mean, as JJ, you're thinking, well, as long as if I Frost Nova and just throw some spells at the face, I could probably set up a 2-turn lethal. His board is full, so he can't play anything.
Yeah, I mean, I would always believe here that my Frost Nova is going to be good here. Ultima just happens to be holding on to Soulfire. You can tell that JJ has like a sense of it though. which is really interesting. I mean, the fact that his game sense is that spot on.
Ultima might think this is ice block. Does that change his play though?
I mean, I think you got to go for it. We'll see what you choose. Yeah, I mean, that's the play JJ should be making though, is setting this to try as a bluff in the event that Ultima wants to change plans, but no option but to go for it. And so SuperJJ, you can see, is surprised by it too. Ultima gonna take game number 2 here. Dark Peddler being a big difference in this one. And that's the kind of pressure that card provides too, is the fact that it gives you a range that you don't normally have in your Zoo deck. Very important card to the strategy, and that's a perfect example of why. Yeah,
Ultima looked very surprised there that Icebug didn't pop at the last minute, but he's going to tie up the series 1-1. Finds a win with that Zoo Warlock. I think that the toughest one he's going to find here is going to be with that Hunter. It just feels like it might not fight for the board as well early game, and it doesn't have quite as much of the aggressive style against the Freeze Mage, but we'll definitely see. He surprised the Maz with it, I'm sure, and we'll see if he can do the same thing against SuperJJ. He's got a very heavy hand right now, which is not what you want in this matchup.
Yeah, and the Camels, honestly, are not very good in this matchup either. The 1-drops for Zoo typically outperform the 1-drops for Hunter. One of the strengths of the deck in general, let alone when it's against Desert Camel as well. And SuperJJ off to an even better start here as well with turn Voidwalker into Haunted Creeper, Abusive Sergeant, and Implosion back behind. I mean, I don't know how Ultima is getting in this game without drawing on Unleash the Hounds at some point.
Yeah, and not even just at some point. At some point very soon.
Yeah, Dark Peddler likely to be the play here. The chicken all day.
Angry chicken.
Sometimes you got to show him who's boss. It's clearly Abusive Sergeant's pick. And the trade-in is pretty darn easy. This is looking grim for Ultima.
I mean, if he can roll into these turns where he plays his big threats, there's a chance. But it's looking very slim.
Purple said to me once his problem with the format is that Implosion into Piloted Shredder is a common play. So we'll see if SuperJJ has the same sentiments and chooses to avoid the Implosion here.
You can also just Iron Beak Owl and trade up with the Abusive Sergeant using one of these Spectral Spiders.
Yeah, he will be avoiding that Implosion onto Piloted Shredder, which is... I'm always terrified when I make that play. I'm like, if this rolls 2, do I just die?
Also, if he gets an Unstable Ghoul or an Explosive Sheep, am I just screwed?
Mana Wraith.
If he gets a Mana Wraith, can I just not...
just please
coin out anything? But it's not really that big of a deal. And he looks like he did want to get that Abusive Sergeant out, though, so he is going to trade into it and start pushing a little bit more face damage. At the moment, Ultima doesn't have a solid turn 5 play, so it looks like it's just going to be Animal Companion plus a hero power. Desert Camel is a liability right now.
Yep.
If you pull out your opponent's Flame Imp and you pull out a Web Spinner for yourself.
Yeah. I'm curious if SuperJJ is reluctant to use Implosion, given his board state right now, just because of the potential for Unleash the Hounds.
I mean, I think you could just coin out a Sea Giant here and be just A-okay.
Do you trade in the 2-1s?
Oh, wow. Okay. So not afraid of Unleash the Hounds at all.
Oh! I mean, that may be a read on the fact that it wasn't cast last turn. And look at Ultima just covering. Oh! It is a huge draw!
SuperJJ is just like, oh, well, okay then. But now the question is, do you clear the board, or do you clear the Abusive Sergeant and then smack him in the face? But he does have Okay. I think that's a pretty smart line there. And he does put himself in an advantageous position on the board. He clears off a lot. Clearing off, I think, definitely is the right play there. He does have double kill command in his hand, but his deck is not about the aggressive burst. He doesn't have charge minions. He doesn't have other burst cards besides kill command. We've seen him use kill command as a control card more than sort of as a face card. So still a chance for Ultima. He hasn't taken too much damage so far. He's got lots of big threats to back this up.
That Unleash the Hounds draw is insane.
That game was just over if he didn't draw Unleash the Hounds right then.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of his deck so far. We actually haven't seen a Mad Scientist or a Trap, I don't believe.
No, not at all. We have, though, seen a Sir Finley Murgleton.
And Desert Camel. So it's going to be Sea Giant.
Damage to your opponent's face.
And try out the Web Spinner. Not too surprising there. Just push one to face. So Ultima is just going to snap Dr. Boom. Not much consideration for that one. Oh, gee, that's 18 damage from hand right now. That Sea Giant's connecting for 8 for sure. There's no way that's trading. This is looking like Lotheb and Ironbeak Owl to me. Maybe he saves the Ironbeak Owl for Houndmaster or Sludge Belcher if he thinks those are possibilities.
Yeah.
But Lotheb is the for sure. I mean, maybe even Power Overwhelming this turn just to deal at 4 extra damage and get a 4/4 on board. I don't think that's unreasonable either.
Yeah. If he didn't have Lotheb there and hit face, Ultima did have exact lethal next turn, I believe. With a nope, not quite. He would have been one off. He would have had 23. 21 plus 2 with the hero power.
Yep.
So, not really a risk. Is SuperJJ scared, though? I don't think he has any reason to be. I think you're exactly right. He's just debating whether or not to get that 4 damage in this turn. And Ultima looks confused, but I don't know if that's a confusing play. He's going to need a lot of help from these boom bots.
He's going to need, I mean, to say the least. Honestly, I think one of the worst things that could happen to him right now is actually getting a taunt minion that may trap him.
He might have played that turn a little bit too quickly. It might have been worth it to play an 8-mana kill command to take out the Lotheb. It would have made his trade almost guaranteed. Maybe he's not expecting the burst from hand, but I don't think there's too much of... Yeah. And it looks like that's going to be it.
Yeah, that wraps it up. He's no way to live through this next turn. Yep, game number 3 is going to be going over to SuperJJ. Very well fought from him, calculating his damage as carefully as he can, even in the face of that crazy Unleash the Hounds top deck.
Yeah.
Able to find the damage to close this one out.
Yeah. And I think that greetings from the end there from SuperJJ is just a nod to that Unleash the Hounds. And SuperJJ just match point now, 1 game away from securing his spot in the round of 4. And right now, waiting in the round of 4 for him, I believe we have all the players but this matchup. We do have an update. Ray C, a player that we talked about a little bit earlier, defeated Orange 3-0. So the round of 4 right now is Ray C, and then the matchup that we just saw earlier with Dakota, who also made it through. And the last player in the round of 4 is going to be Astrogation, who we saw made it earlier. So those 3 players are waiting to see who's going to win this match to join them. We're getting down to the wire here, and SuperJJ once again on match point in this game with Freeze Mage.
Yep. Not only is it Freeze Mage, but it's Freeze Mage versus Hunter. So this is one that's been kind of back and forth, honestly, for a long time. Where for a while the Hunters were way favored, and then for a while the Mages were favored. Then it kind of went back to even and such. Oh, when he hits a Lotheb off the Kings. Look at SuperJJ. He's like, oh my gosh, are you kidding?
Well, you got to play around Lotheb now because you know that he has it. King's Elec MVP. Oh my goodness. This match was nuts.
Busted.
Yeah. But SuperJJ does have an okay hand here. He's got some cycle. Doomsayer is going to be good. Mad Scientist pickup as well. Pulling out those ice barriers. I wonder if
a little bit of traction.
Yeah, I wonder if Ultima is going to play Sir Finley Murgleton at any point. Is there merit to picking up an armor up potentially?
No. I don't think so. Like the Hunter hero power is already one of the best ones in the game. The Finley in this deck is the only beef I think I've really had with this deck so far. Is like even despite having no secrets, no scientist, the Finley just like oftentimes the Finley you're searching for the Hunter hero power. The reason you play Hunter is so you just already have it.
We're going back to Pawn Stars again. I got an expert on hero powers.
I'll load him up and start attacking for 4. Take the Blood Mage. Not a huge surprise there.
Picking up some good stuff here. Got some Cycle with the Novice Engineer. Frostbolt's going to be able to stop some of the damage, but he is taking some heat. Savannah Highmane is really tough to deal with, too. You can freeze it, but eventually you're going to have to kill it or take the 6. And, of course, Lotheb's always going to be playing in the back of SuperJJ's mind.
Yeah, I mean, when you know your opponent has it, what do you actually do? Like, I've actually never been in this situation where I was 100% positive that my opponent had Lotheb.
You preemptively play the Doomsayer into the Lotheb. That's what you do, I suppose.
Well, this Doomsayer doesn't look like it's getting checked this turn.
Well, yeah, I can't. So, Ultima's just going to push some damage here. Maybe even use Unleash the Hounds as just 2 mana burst. Or 2 damage burst. It's not getting much better in this matchup. You're never going to have more than 2 minions on the board.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, that's definitely what I would be doing with this card right now. I mean, it's not going to be making any headway anytime soon. It's actually a good spot from Ultima here. Just be using that card as aggressively as it can. Snagging his damage. It is Ice Block that SuperJJ gets. Curious if he'd rather have the Ice Blocks or the Ice Barriers at this point. I tell you what, he definitely wants that Acolyte. Wow, I'm very surprised by that. That has to be a nod to the fact that he knows that Lotheb is in Ultima's hand.
Yeah. He wants to make sure he gets these spells out as early as possible. But Savannah Highmane coming down on 6. I mean, I think you just go for it. I don't think there's too much thought being put into this one. That's the strongest minion you have in your hand. It's turn 6. So this one could come down to the wire here.
Yeah, goes ahead and not procs the Ice Barrier. A little bit surprised by that.
I mean, it's 1 damage, and if he has Ice Barrier in his hand, you're sort of giving him, extra stuff to do with this 3 mana.
I wonder.
So SuperJJ might feel like he needs to set up for a Blizzard next turn by fireballing down the Savannah Highmane.
That's exactly what he's going to do. Yeah, that lets him set the Acolyte, too. I really like this, actually. This is, I think, the turn he planned out last turn when he played the Ice Barrier as well. Whoa. Actually, he's gonna Forgotten Torch. I'm very surprised by that.
That Lotheb might just have doomed SuperJJ because now he's making what feels like inefficient plays over the course of his turns because he's so afraid of the Lotheb.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
And now Ultima's just gonna not play it.
Well, if he doesn't play it here and he just plays Camel, that's great. Yeah, this is tough. I mean, Ultima doesn't want to just use the Lotheb for no reason. Yeah, the Camel's a little bit weak here, but doesn't proc the Ice Barrier.
Maybe he's on the game plan of, I'm just going to whittle him down with hero power and burn spells.
Yeah, I think that is exactly where he's headed with this.
Yeah. And, I don't mind it. What is with these Malords? Jeez. Ultima's had Maloran in his hand 4 times in 2 matches. He doesn't even have the card in his deck.
I have no time for games.
It's kind of crazy that this game plan is actually feeling really strong right now. Like, it's got to be making JJ a little nervous that this is the choice.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's giving him like very clear knowledge of how much time he has when this happens.
Yeah. Man, this is going to be close. JJ does have some cycle with that Acolyte of Pain. But maybe he's worried about, this stuff that's on the board. He doesn't have nearly enough burn to go for it yet. He might be put in a situation later on in the game where he has to defensively Alexstrasza.
Yeah, which isn't that bad. I mean, that's certainly a win condition in this deck.
Yeah, but against a slower deck like the one Ultima's running, Ultima looks very nervous at the moment.
Yeah, JJ considering the Roaring Torch prior to playing the Acolyte, and is just going to Frost Nova here, which I don't necessarily agree with. I think the fact that Ultima has not been attacking you is a reason to not Frost Nova. So unless he wants to Frost Nova to activate more pings, that's probably a reason not to do that.
You think Ultima runs Flare?
No, I do not.
That could be another reason why he's not attacking.
It definitely could be.
We did see one hunter with Flare. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Rod, though. I'm just like, I remember a hunter card that was really weird.
Yeah, it was Rod. It was the Reno Hunter. It was the Reno Hunter. Yeah. Down to 8. I mean, just a couple turns are closing in. That kill command is definitely cutting this clock a little bit shorter. Master and run over the Acolyte? Or is he finally going to trigger this Ice Barrier? See, at this point, I think if he triggers the Ice Barrier at any point in this game now, I think it's strictly a mistake.
Yeah.
So I think it's completely off the menu. Oh, geez.
Yeah, there's Alexstrasza, but I mean, is it worth it? You don't want to Alexstrasza offensively because you don't have nearly enough burn, and your block is getting popped because the board is too scary at the moment. If you have to Alexstrasza defensively next turn, then you're also in sort of the same spot. He's going to want to Alexstrasza defensively, I guess, after his ice block is popped.
But when is he going to have board control then?
Yeah, he needs to have board control to play Alexstrasza at all. This is a tough situation to be in. And that Ice Barrier, with the way that Ultima's making his game plan, that Ice Barrier is effectively dead. Because he's not going to be able to play that. Because Ultima's just not going to use it.
Yep, and I'm curious if this was the right attack first.
I think it is. Because then he just... Ooh, nope.
Ups 5. Nope, that's not the way to do that. Drop Malorn as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and Hero Power. Next turn he pops a block.
Yeah, but this gives SuperJJ one more draw. Oh
yeah.
My.
Well, that looks like it's just going to be game over.
Well, not quite. I mean,
he knows Lotheb is in.
Yeah. So if the block gets popped at 1, he's in trouble because the Lotheb hits the board then, and then he has to play the Ice Block and Ping, which doesn't give him the mana to use Pyroblast and Roaring Torch. So Lotheb, the sequencing is paramount here. We've seen Ultima play so fast, he cannot avoid to do this right now. And I'm curious if this was the right attack first.
I think it is, because then he just... Ooh, nope.
Ups 5. Nope, that's not the way to do that.
He's going to kill him in his own Sylvanas.
Yep. So that actually has a little bit of an impact in this game. It might not end up mattering simply because Ultima.
Bye-bye.
Well, maybe not bye-bye, because now SuperJJ does have an alternate way to win this game, which is draw Frostbolt. So SuperJJ is going to drop the Ice Barrier here, ping Ultima down to 14. If Ultima simply kill commands before he hero powers, SuperJJ can live via Frost Nova for the turn afterwards, and then find the time to get this damage. So the fact that Ultima has sequenced this improperly could potentially cost him if he continues to do so.
He just waved at him. That's pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, I think both Frostbolts have been used, haven't they?
I don't recall both Frostbolts being used. I'm not sure. He just kill commands, and this could really cost him. Replaces his Hunter hero power, and this could really cost him. So SuperJJ is going to Frost Nova this turn.
Fireball ping.
He's seen both kill commands. He knows there's no Hunter hero power, so Quick Shot won't kill him. It would take Eagle Hornbow Quick Shot, Glaive Zuka Quick Shot, or Gladiator's Longbow, in which case he has an Ice Lance. So there's a lot of options here for SuperJJ to still win this game after what has happened.
Doesn't SuperJJ just win now? Because he can Frost Nova Fireball ping.
Well, we have to see what gets drawn from Ultima's deck, because if it's Frost Nova, Fireball Ping, and then Ultima just gets King Crush off the Ram Wrangler, the game's over.
Yeah. But, outside of something crazy happening, like an Iron Begal to silence a freeze or anything else, SuperJJ just wins with Power Blast the next turn.
I mean, Ultima needs help to win the game at this point, is the point I'm trying to make. So, and Fireball...
He had like a near automatic win situation if he if he sequenced correctly and held onto his Hunter hero power.
Right.
He needs Iron Begal or King Crush from Ram Wrangler.
Hunter's Mark's no good. King's Crush or Tundra Rhino will do it, because the Dread Scale charge would be enough as well. And Fierce Monkey's not going to do it. That's it. SuperJJ is going to win the series 3-1.
Wow.
Yep. Ultima played a little bit too fast here. Should have taken his time, slowed himself down, and accounted for the possibilities. The pressure of the situation, I don't think really got to him at all. Kind of touching on what you said earlier with Amnesia, how he said he does get stressed out in these situations, and it's normal for a competitive player to get stressed out. I feel like Ultima was the exact opposite of that. He wasn't stressed at all, and so he was just slinging his cards around.
Too relaxed.
Too relaxed. He could have put SuperJJ at 1 multiple times to pop that block, and that would have made a big difference.
And held on to the hero power as well.
Exactly.
Yikes. Well, that's going to be SuperJJ playing that incredibly well. Navigating those end turns, capitalizing on a couple of those missteps from Ultima, and taking the series 3-1. So really impressive performance by him. We've actually seen 3 matches from him now, and he's done well in all 3 of those. So he's gonna move on to the round of 4, which means the round of 4 is completely set. Ray C, SuperJJ, Astrogation, and Dakota. So I'd say that's a pretty stacked round of 4. We have a good mix of players that have gotten the spotlight, like SuperJJ. We have some players that are up-and-coming competitive players like Astrogation and Ray C. And then we also have a player that not many people know too much about, which is Dakota. So I'd say it's a pretty good top 4 to have.
Yeah, I mean, Astrogation, player we talked about during the round of 32, comes from a card-playing background. Ray C, a very strong player. I've worked with him a little bit recently, and comes from a very rich card background. And we saw Dakota in the match versus Amnesia played some very tight game. Really, kind of a strange Reno Warlock build, but his play was spot on. Very much taking his time, being very patient, and overlooking all the possibilities. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this top 4 pans out.
Yeah, it should be really cool to see. But we are going to have to take a quick break. Next matchup is going to be Racy versus Astrogation. So those are the two of those players that we talked about that you just mentioned. So going to be a good matchup. Like I said, are going to have to go to a quick break, but keep in mind, guys, still doing the PC giveaway, the CyberPower PC. They've been nice enough, kind enough to support us and give us some PCs, not only to support us with equipment at PAX East, but also with a PC to give away. So it's a CyberPower Gamer Extreme 1000 PC. So head over to the website, geico.onog.gg, or just click the banner down below the stream. It's the one that's, I believe, over to the far left. It has a big win button on it, so make sure you click that one. Also, again, we are still have open signups for the next One Nation of Gamers 2016 Circuit Open Tournament, which takes place on April 30th. So it's in just 1 week. So if you want to sign up for that, again, head over to the website in the top right. There will be a sign up button. It's really easy to do. It's really easy to play in. It's super fun to play in, and each of those opens has a $1,000 prize pool and leads into many more tournaments with much higher prize pools than that. So go ahead and do that during the break. But when we come back, it is going to be Racy versus Astrogation in the semifinals. So more Hearthstone Major action continues right after this.